So last time onwards, I think we have started with the advantages of using database approach. Earlier, there was normal file approach. Then when people started using database, what were the advantages? Last time we saw controlled redundancy. Now we'll see providing backup and recovery services, then providing multiple interfaces to different classes of users, representing complex relationship among data, enforcing integrity constraints. Then, okay, the last one is beyond your scope, so let's skip that. Okay. We'll see this feature in detail, restricting unauthorized access. So already we have seen that multiple users are supported by DBMS software. Supported in the sense, it is not that many users can log in at a time. Multiple users means every user category can have different levels of access permissions. Fine. So when multiple users share large database, it is likely that most users will not be authorized to access all the information in the database. Some users may be permitted to only retrieve the data, whereas others are allowed to both retrieve and update. So the type of access operation, retrieval or update must also be controlled for every user. So DBMS provides a security authorization subsystem. Last time when I explained you about database administrator as part of users, I explained you the responsibility of database administrator is to create different user accounts. So every database management software, may it be Access, may it be Oracle, it gives one provision or options wherein a database administrator can create accounts. And then for every account, DBA specifies a particular access permissions, fine? That is restrictions, whether the user can do the update, whether the user can only view the data, something like that. So DBMS, database management system, should always provide such kind of provision, I mean such kind of option. And then once the option is set, the database management software automatically enforces these restrictions. Then you don't have to manually be present there to check whether it is allowing anybody or no. DBMS will be expert in handling such security permissions. So this is how one more advantage is, it restricts unauthorized user access. So whoever user you have given the permission, only those users will be able to access. Next is providing persistent storage for program objects. Anyone knows the meaning of persistent? Literal meaning of the word persistent? Okay, in your program, you store the data in the form of variables. Are the variables volatile or permanent? Are you people awake?
Yeah, they may change.
May nahi, it changes. They are volatile or variables. I'm not talking about within one program execution. Like for example, today you close the application and tomorrow you open, the variable contents are lost, isn't it? In database management system, basically database management system software are used to store the data permanently in the form of databases. And then one more thing is there, as I told you last time, that databases uses various kinds of data. With specialized database management system, there are also OODBMS. Can anybody guess what is OODBMS?
Object oriented.
Object oriented.
Object oriented. That means the data will not be normal, it will be in the form of objects. So objects will contain properties and methods together. So when such data is stored in database management system, whenever data is read from the program, it should be stored in the form of objects, uh, and then those objects should be automatically converted into databases. Fine. So sometimes, like the programming languages, especially like object oriented programming languages like C++ and Java, they will have complex data structures, and then the values of the program variables are normally discarded when the program terminates. But then here what happens is, in case of object oriented programming, they should be stored in permanent files, and then that should match with the format suitable for file storage. So this DBMS software provide automatic conversion from this complex storage structures into the databases. So this is one more advantage. Next is providing storage structure for efficient query. What do you mean by query? What's the meaning of the word query?
Doubt.
Doubt is one. Yeah, asking questions. Querying means asking for some information. Fine, that is called as querying. So in DBMS later on, when you will start with practical programming, this query word will be frequently used. So whatever questions or whatever request you will put to the database management system for some data. So whatever question you type that will have particular syntax. So that those questions are called as query. And whenever you type the query, whenever user types the query and then submits that query to the database searches the information from all the tables and it gives the information in the format asked by the user. Sometimes user may ask, okay, average salary of all the employees. Sometimes user may ask, give me the list of you know employees according to their birth dates or according to their joining dates. Sometimes you may query for in one particular area, what are the maximum sales done. So there could be various ways by which you will request for the data, and data will be presented to the user in the format asked by the user. But don't think that data will be actually stored in all those formats how it is asked. I can give you an example of restaurant again here. When you go to restaurant, of course, in restaurant, at least the menu card will be fixed and only those dishes which are printed on the menu card will be served in a restaurant. But imagine a kind of restaurant where the dishes are served as per the user's choice. User can come, customer can come and ask for any dish and it will be served. Do you think then in such case, all the dishes will be prepared and ready by imagining? No, ingredients will be prepared, but whenever the customer comes and order for some certain things, it will be prepared and given. Similarly, in case of database management system, don't think that the data will be stored in all these formats which the user may request for. The data is basically stored in basic table format, only rows and columns. But whenever user asks for such any particular special type of data, like he's asking for the sorted data that is in the descending order of the maximum salary or according to the date. So in all these cases, data will be dynamically or on that spot. Okay, in that particular moment, it will be processed and then it will be given. This is called as query processing. So whenever what happens in case of large databases, now you know that you people use Twitters and then you use Gmails. You can imagine that there could be millions and trillions of users who have their accounts on Gmail or even on Twitter. Whenever you request for any information, automatically just by the keyword, so many tweets you can uh, I mean get on your screen. So this search processing is so fast, even on your Facebook and all. So how is that such query processing is so efficiently done? Uh, so for that, your DBMS always provides a kind of special data structures behind, which are used for efficient searching. Fine. Okay, I can just ask you a simple question. All of you have seen the textbooks, right? Of course, maybe a long time past you might not have touched any textbooks. But okay, I hope in your schooling time you have seen the textbook. So when you take a large textbook and if you have to jump to a particular chapter, how do you go? How do you jump to that particular chapter? Do you go on turning the pages?
Index.
Index.
Index
What
and
does
page
what does index give you? Index will be a special page of particularly in the front or sometimes in the back side also. And then you will see the page numbers and you will jump to that page number automatically. Similarly, nowadays, in case of big textbooks, you might have seen the indexes are based on the keywords also. They are not only based on the chapter. Like suppose you have to read about the query, then you will search for the word query in the behind pages, and you will see the page numbers on which you will read about the query. Fine. So this is how indexes, as it helps you in case of physical search, in case of your books. Similarly, in case of databases, these indexes will be prepared. How these indexes are prepared? Of course, it is not in your syllabus, but I can just show you how these indexes will be prepared. So if you have to search by some keyword, it will be something like this. Suppose you have a database here, fine, which is made up of rows and columns. And imagine it goes to gigabytes. That means millions and trillions of rows of data is there in that. And you have to search for one keyword. It is something like if the data of entire Gupta College commerce students data is stored in one particular database, like BCom, BBA, BCA, MCom all together. And you have to search for only BCA fourth semester data. So can you imagine from thousands of users, you have to keep on searching. So there will be somewhere the field called as BCA and then fourth semester. So the query is based on two things. One is course is BCA and then semester is fourth. So you have to keep on matching both these questions from each of the row. So in that case, there will be some kind of index prepared. In the sense, the search which is frequently done by the user, based on that, there will be one separate database or a kind of table will be prepared. Something like this. Here it will be, okay. Suppose if it is of this table, imagine it is of 2 columns. Here you have the keyword and here you have the record numbers. So every row has got one particular number, suppose. And suppose here the keyword is BCA. When you say BCA, which all numbers, I mean record numbers BCA is stored, those record numbers will be present here. Like for example, 1, then there may be some 15, there may be some 246, and there may be. So even if the records are randomly stored of all the BCA students, it is not stored at one particular place, even if it is scattered. But then because of the query, automatically through the query, you can search it very quickly. So if you're prepared such index, automatically it becomes very easy for the query processing software, that it can just go to the index file and it will be easy for it to fetch the record numbers, and based on it, it can directly jump to those record numbers and it can find the BCA related data. I hope you just, at least got the idea of how indexing is done. Actual indexing is multi-level and very, very complicated in DBMS software. Anyway, it was just to give you an idea how database management system software give you different options for efficient execution of the queries and updates. Updates in the sense, suppose you just give a command to the database that uh, all the BCA students should be given some kind of some timetable should be conveyed to all the BCA students. Now again, imagine if all the students' data is stored and the information is scattered, it becomes very difficult to search for each of the BCA student and then update. But then if the index file is ready, then automatically you can update this very quickly. Fine. This is how all the database management system software provides different storage structures like indexes for efficient query processing. Fine. Okay, let's go ahead with the next. Providing backup and recovery. You people must be aware of this term. I mean, most of you, because whenever you change your phone and you want to get all the old WhatsApp images and all on the new phone also, what do?
Backup.
You take a backup, isn't it? And then when you just install that backup file on your new phone, automatically you'll get all the old data. Similarly, in case of database management system, uh, when you shift it from one system to another, suppose you want to retrieve all the data, then you can automatically back up your data and then recover it from the backup file. Not only for that, sometimes what happens whenever you are updating a database, imagine in case of railway reservation system and all, suddenly because of some hardware failure or some kind of software failure or network failure, if the data is lost, can you imagine a kind of mess that may be formed because of that data loss? So that is why in case of real-time systems, always the databases are backed up on multiple devices. In case of software engineering subject, I think you have it for this semester or next. Yeah, you will understand various techniques, how this even backing up is done in various ways. Fine. So all DBMS software, they provide auto backup and auto recovery options. Sometimes they are based on user's choice and sometimes they are also automatically done. Fine. So each of the database management system provides you this option. So that's why you need not worry much about the loss of information. The next advantage is providing multiple user interfaces. In the sense, for programmer, even if the interface is little technical and complicated, it is okay. But for the normal user, if you just provide such complicated interface, will he be able to work? Like for example, you people have learned Java last time. It was so complicated to go type Java C and then Java and then understand the errors and then go back and again make changes. Fine. Then if any particular technically illiterate person like Prashant sir, I'm not calling him technically illiterate, but his field is different, isn't it? So if you ask Prashant sir or Sumit sir or any clerk at the bank, if you provide him Java kind of interface, will they be able to work? No. So for different user groups, uh, those which are not technically sound, the user interfaces have to be more user friendly. They have to be colorful. They have to be more informative and easy to use. So similarly here, um, different users have different kinds of interfaces. Later on, we are going to cover that section because it is 5 mark frequently asked question, explain various user interfaces. That time we are going to learn all these interfaces in detail. So for now, you just have to understand that every database management system provides multiple user interfaces. Then the kind of DBMS software we are learning is RDBMS. What does R stand for here?
Relational.
Relational. That means there are various tables and then there is something, I mean, all these tables are bound to each other with some relationship. Sometimes these relationships are very complex in nature. So all these database management systems software should be expert in representing and maintaining such complex relationships among data. Fine. So it is very interesting to know how these relationships are stored, and they not only stored, they will follow even some kind of rules and regulations. uh, I at least love that. Like, I can just give you an example. Suppose now Priya madam was there last time in a Gupte college, isn't it, in BCA section? So when Priya madam left the college, um, all her entries from salary account, from library account, from some, uh, in case of, if she's a member of some society, if she's member of various committees, from everywhere her name has to be deleted, isn't it? If it has to be done manually, like in our Gupte college, still it is done manually only. So what happens, even after Priya madam is left, her name is there in various committees still. And some time ago, even there was a call for Priya madam. And then later we had to tell that no, no, now she's not there in BCA section working. So in case of automated or software related storage, what happens is, if Priya madam leaves the college, automatically her data from all the files will be automatically deleted. Even manually, you don't have to give such command. But for that, initially while storing the data, you should have given established such relationship. So this is how, even when her data is present in so many tables, automatically it will be deleted just by a central deletion. Or in other ways, sometimes, I mean, you will, okay, fine. I'll not go into the details of all this, how database management system takes care of maintaining this consistent data storage. We'll see that in detail when that particular concept arises. So right now you just have to understand what was the title. DBMS represents complex relationship among data. Enforcing integrity constraints. So last time I told you about constraints. What are constraints? Anyone remembers?
Rules.
Rules. So there are various types of constraints. I just gave you an example of marks should be greater than 0 and less than 100, less than or equal to 100. Or date of joining should be greater than date of birth, or date of birth should be greater than, I mean, less than today's date, and the person should be born already. Fine. So these are few examples of integrity constraint, but there are also complex integrity constraints. Like, I can give you an example. Suppose if there are two tables, one is admission table and second is marks table. So suppose if one particular student has not taken admission, and by mistake that roll number comes for entering the marks. When you suppose if it would be manual, if there are two registers, one is admission register and one is marks register. In case of admission, suppose there are roll numbers only from 1 to 100. And in case of marks table, even if you write the marks for roll number 105, it will take, because there is nobody, until unless human being uses his brain to understand, okay, if there are only 1 to 100 roll numbers admitted, then how can there be 105 roll number? It cannot exist. And such problems may occur in case of manual. Now, in case of even database storage also, such problems may occur. But then when you have these rules and when you automatically establish the relationship initially, then the DBMS will take care that you cannot enter the roll number in marks table until and unless that roll number exists in admission table. It will check automatically. If you try to enter, it will say integrity constraint violated. There is some unrelated data you are trying to enter. So how wonderfully it checks that. You will experience in your practicals also. So this is how your database management system software enforces integrity constraints the moment they are put at the time of table creation. And it will remember it forever till the destruction of the table. Next, permit. Okay, this is not there in your syllabus, so we'll just skip this. Additional implication. That means rarely this question is asked, but suppose sometimes what happens is, actually in your book, they have given only 8 advantages, and many of the times this explain advantages of database approach is asked for 10 marks. In that case, normally what happens is people will go for such calculation like 1 advantage, 1 mark. In that case, there are some additional advantages which are given in case of your database usage. So those I have included in the notes so that you try to add 1 or 2 extra so that you fetch more marks. So one is potential for enforcing standards. The database approach, I mean, there are some kind of standards used in large organizations. Like if you restrict that these should be the names of the tables, there are some standards which are automatically enforced by the DBMS software only. I can give you an example like in Java also, last time we have studied that in one package you cannot have 2 classes with the same name, isn't it? So similarly here, there cannot be 2 tables with the same name in the same database, or there cannot be 2 columns in the same table with the same name. So there has to be, this is one of the standard which is given. Why this standard is enforced? So that there is no confusion later. If it allows you to create 2 tables with the same name in the same database, later on it is going to create confusion or ambiguity for you people, isn't it? So similarly, some kind of formats of data elements, especially in case of date. People may write date in various formats, especially in case of computerized system. There are around 10 to 12 formats in which you can write date. Some people may write, what is today's date? It is 24th May, right? It's 24th May 2021. So some people may write 24th space May 2021. Some people may write 24/05/2021. Some people may write in MMDD format. What is MMDD format? First month and then date. So like this, there could be, or some people may use hyphen, some people may use dot. So if these different formats are used in case of database storage, in case of query processing, because computer is a machine, it will not understand, okay, dot and hyphen, you have to ignore and you just have to look at the month and date there. It will not do that. If you asked for 24/05/21, then it will try to search for the exact date, and other dates it will ignore. Even if they are 24th May, but it will ignore because computer tried to match the exact format of the data. So in this case, what happens? You can avoid this problem by enforcing user to enter the date in a particular format. So that can be done, and such provision is given, especially in case of access. I have seen there is something called as input mask, which will enforce the user to enter the date in particular format only. Then reduced application development time. This database management system provides such user-friendly interfaces by which your application development time is reduced. Flexibility, I think it is related to one of the characteristic what we have covered earlier, that you can change from the existing application, you can change the backend without disturbing the front end, and you can even change the front end without disturbing the backend. Similarly, you can extend and you can reduce the data from the existing database also. Fine. So there is flexibility to change data structure, availability of up-to-date information. So it never happens that database will store the old information. Of course, sometimes if the user doesn't store it or save it, then it may go back to the previous saved changes. Economies of scale. I mean, as we have seen last time, that it avoids redundancy. Redundancy means repetition of data. That itself saves so much of effort time, and then memory. Fine. So similarly, database management system, because it stores the data at one place, so that is called as consolidating data storage. So there could be repetition of data or repetition of user efforts can be avoided, and this becomes economical. Yeah, so these are the same advantages explained in detail. So I hope these advantages are clear to you. We'll stop here now. All of you give your attendance.